If you actually think about this, like who you want to be in the future, if you were that person now with all the things you still have to do, how would that person handle those things?
Yeah.
This is how Be It Till You See It came about.
Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap. My co-host in life, Brad, and I are going to dig into the influential convo I had with Candy Motzek in our last episode. If you haven't yet listened to that one, go ahead and listen to it and then come back and listen to this one, or listen to this one and then listen to that one. I just found out from the book club and agency that a lot of them just listen to the book club meeting to decide if they're going to read the book. And I was like, okay, well, we need
That's
at
like
least
the Cliff's Notes.
Yeah, I said, but we need at least 2 people every month to read the book to host the book club. So you guys have to alternate on this weird plan you have. Anyways, I really enjoyed Candy. It's so fun. I was actually listening to the pre of the interview, and she was like, hey, before we continue, can I just take a screenshot of us so I can post it? And I was like, oh, you totally can. It was so fun. And also I was like, okay, if you're going to do Beat Action items, I always tell people, just so you guys know, like just, breaking the third wall. I tell them, do not say, get to know yourself or journal for a Beat Action item, because what the fuck is that anyways? And so I was like, cause we email them this, but some people don't read. So I say it beforehand.
Pretty sure it's the fourth wall.
It's the fourth wall, third wall. It's a wall. We broke through the wall. And so I'm breaking through the wall. So, so I said, I was telling her what she's been emailed, because sometimes people just
don't read.
And she's like, you're going to give me a big red X. And I was like, well, I'm not rude. But correct. You'll have to come up with something else. So anyways, her Beat Action items are awesome. This is what I'm loving. Our guests that I'm getting, because you guys keep listening to this podcast, are bigger and better every single time. And they really do take podcasting seriously. And so thank you.
She's a podcast host herself. And so
they always
really great at it.
They always make the best guests.
Yeah, 100%.
But at any rate, she's awesome. And I really love her. So we'll get into that in a second. But for now, if you're listening to this today and you live in the States, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And if you don't live in the States, happy day before Black Friday, because what I have found out is it's Black Friday everywhere, even though it's not Thanksgiving everywhere. And however you feel about Thanksgiving, I know for a lot of people in the US, they're doing family, friends, food, a lot of food. There's so much food. And also, can we just be honest, most of the food for Thanksgiving is not exciting, except for the sweet potatoes. So good. Do not put marshmallows on that shit. And
it's some very creative food.
There's creative food.
And then in the States, football.
There's lots of football. There's
football.
A big turkey on the football field that somehow has multiple legs. I don't understand that. And to be honest, I actually don't like any Thanksgiving food. So we go to a restaurant.
I love mashed potatoes.
Well, but you can make mashed potatoes on any day.
Yeah.
Stuffing, I never understood stuffing.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
Oh, well, I'm gluten dairy free, so I'm fucked. Yeah. But cranberry, I grew up poor, so it was the cranberry. Do you know what's really funny?
The cranberry can, where it's
the can, because it's got the lines. Yeah. Yep. Also, can I just tell you really quickly my favorite Thanksgiving story? Okay, so my grandmother, none of my grandparents are around anymore, but my mom's parents don't cook. Okay. They do not cook. And we went to their house for Thanksgiving one year. I don't know why they won, but they ordered it from Rayleigh's. Rayleigh's is kind of like Ralph's or a Smith's, or what do you call it on the East Coast?
Acme.
This is a regular grocery store, but you can pre-order like a pre-made Thanksgiving. Think Boston Market, which doesn't exist anymore either, but you can pre-order. You go, I want a turkey this size. No, pretty sure.
Are they done?
Well, Keith Olbermann did the commercial, and I'm pretty sure he got paid a lot, and then they anyways, that's another story. So, but let me tell this story. This is really funny. So picture the wooden table that's an oval with a leaf was put in to make enough room. And then the grocery ordered, you reheat the food kind of Thanksgiving meal. Okay. And we're all sitting around the table, and my grandmother bought, what's the sparkling apple cider? Do you know what I mean? The sparkling apple cider, because like, for the kids, Martinelli's.
That's right.
So sparkling apple cider or apple juice. And then there's obviously like champagne or wine for the adults. But anyways, she bought those like plastic flutes that you like put together, where you put the flute in the bottom of the thing.
Sure.
Okay. So we put that on the table, and then, but they're cheap because poor, right? So they're pouring the apple cider.
Fancy.
They're pouring, it looked fancy. Let me just tell you. Okay. So they're pouring the apple cider into the flutes, right? With these plastic flutes. And then of course, everyone is like reaching over the table to pass things around, and you're just knocking apple cider flutes around, and they're just like falling into the turkey. So the turkey is like floating in apple. It's like floating. And everyone is laughing, and my grandpa's like, this is fucking a waste of money. My grandpa's pissed. My mom is laughing so hard she's like gonna pee her. I mean, it's a fucking hilarious thing. It's my best memory. And then from then on out, we went back to my dad's side of the family for Thanksgiving, and we invited my mom's parents over, and I was so disappointed because my dad's parents were so serious.
Yeah, well, I won over the whole family by cooking your dad's mom's artichoke casserole. Surprise.
Yes.
Nobody knew that you had the recipe.
I know, they want it badly.
Yeah, and I never
We should just give it to them.
But I cooked it, and they were like, oh my gosh, this tastes like grandma.
What if for this Thanksgiving we just
Because we
melt
eat grandma. What?
We eat grandma.
Yeah.
Well, what if for this Thanksgiving we just like mail them the recipe and like, you know what I mean? Like, Merry Christmas.
We're not coming.
We're not coming. Anyways, okay. So what does this mean? It means Black Friday, Cyber Monday. It means there are a bunch of sales happening on onlineapplianceclasses.com and profitapplies.com. And you want to go. If you're not a member, there's an awesome opportunity to be a member for OPC for super not a lot of money. Then also at Profit Applies, there's like discounts on courses and Brad's upcoming What Your Website Needs webinar.
Live,
you guys, whether you're gonna
live with Brad. Beep, beep, beep,
whether you're gonna
beep.
make it yourself, it's not live this weekend, you guys. It's just the sale is this weekend. It's live, not
December
this weekend.
3rd.
So the deal is really inexpensive, and you are going to be able to have confidence in knowing what your website should have. So you can go through your website and make sure you have all the things he's saying. Or if you're gonna make it yourself, you know what to do. Or if you're gonna hire someone, you won't get fucked over. So that's really awesome. And matte flashcards are on sale. A whole bunch of good stuff. So super, super great. Grab the matte flashcards for all of your friends. Do it.
Yeah.
It's there. This is the best deal they're going to be.
Yes.
Okay. Before we get in with Candy, Brad, do we have an audience question to respond to?
Oh, yes, we do. And this week's question is, what are great presents for my clients?
We get this all the fucking
We answer this every year.
Every year, multiple times, sometimes earlier, sometimes like in August, people are asking this question. So I've had this question 3 different times in 3 different ways. Some people are like, I want a non-fitness gift for my clients. Some people are like, I want like an inexpensive gift for my clients. And some are like, do I have to get a gift for my clients? And I'm just going to say, whether you don't have to be a Pilates instructor for this to apply to you, you actually don't have to give anyone anything.
You do not.
Ever. Some people's love languages are gifts. And in some cultures, then when they give gifts or when they receive gifts, they write a list because then they return them back. Like for example, in Cambodia, when you are invited to a wedding, they will literally write down and keep a log. Brad and Lesley gave $50. And then when we invite them to something, they give $50. So it's exactly reciprocal. Okay. And everything is cash. No one's buying dishes for anybody. They just give money. Okay. So depends on the culture where you're listening. So make sure you think about that. But for when it comes to, if you are a studio owner, I'm just going to speak to like in that way, but like if you are a service-based industry person, getting your clients gifts is really thoughtful, but it's not something you can always do every single year. And they're not expecting it from you. They literally do not come to you for massages, hair care, Pilates, yoga, babysitting, none of that to receive a gift from you at the end of the year. If you got them a handwritten card that said, oh my gosh, I love how 9 a.m. on Sundays feels because of you, that is going to be so thoughtful. You have no idea. If you wanted to instead, one of Jamie Hayden in Milwaukee her studio adopts a family every Christmas. They literally, there's a charity that she works with and they adopt a family, and each client actually buys a gift for the family rather than like giving her gifts or like her giving them gifts. And that's really cool. So I just want to like take the pressure off that you do not have to like get anyone gifts. If you want to give your clients gifts, may I suggest that it's something fun that you can kind of make a tradition? For example, one of my clients in LA, Geeta, every year she and her daughters get together and they make a trail mix of sorts. Call it a trail mix or a muesli of sorts. And they make it, they go to the store, they buy all the ingredients. They have to bake the oatmeal in a certain way. They have certain seasonings they put on it, and they put it in these little mason jars, the same kind of jars every single year. I have 3 of these jars now. And like, it kind of became like, I need a 4th, and then COVID, but like they make it every year. And it's her gift to give all the people in her life that are not close family. And it's the same gift every year. And let me just tell you, it's fucking delicious. I looked forward to it every year, and she could make it. So think about something you could do like that is thoughtful. You put some labor and love into it. The margins are not expensive. We're talking like the cost of the jar is about $1. And then the cost of the products is like, when you break it up against 100 people, like it's really nominal. And so she could do that every year for people. And I looked forward to it every year, and the people in her life did. And so I would do that.
Ironically, that is her giving a gift to you. But
I know, but
yes.
Well, I don't cook. Anyways, I'm just saying it was her giving a gift to me.
Or you could also like support a local business.
Yeah.
And give maybe like a $25 gift card to a lunch spot that they could use near your studio or something.
Well, $25 is a lot. If
20,
you have
$15.
If you have 10 clients, that's a lot of money.
That's true.
So no, what you can also, I just want to say, your clients do not come to you for the money you're going to give them.
They don't come to you for the money.
So what you can do is say, hey, this month, 10% of every session is going to this charity. This is my Christmas gift.
Yeah.
Right. Or just, you can make it community based is my point. I think that's more impactful and people remember it more than you giving them a pair of fucking socks.
I like that idea, actually.
I love toe socks, and you should use our code. They are a sponsor of the show, but it's, by the way, the code is Lesley. Spell it right. But your clients will buy those from you. You don't have to give them to them. They really do love coming to you, and they want you to stay in business. So please don't break your bank to do this, and don't stress about it. Anyways, the point is, the great presents for clients are often the ones that actually bring the community together and do not cost a lot of money and are thoughtful. And so make them something, bake them something, or do something for the community in their honor. That's my suggestion. But if you want to go crazy and stress yourself out, by all means, that's what the holiday season is for.
They have only those 2 choices. Listen to Lesley or stress yourself out.
That's right. You've only those 2 choices. Bah humbug.
Hey, so totally just realized we missed a major announcement.
Major. So big, because it's like literally 2 weeks away.
Pew, 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 pew. Lesley and I are going to be driving around the country.
7,000 miles.
70, like 7,000 miles.
We're bringing the dogs.
We're looking at over 20 locations.
Yes. So it's going to be a city near you.
Yeah.
And because we're driving 7,000 miles, there's no reason why you can't drive 100 miles.
That's true.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. We would love to see you. Come hang out. Go to opc.me/tour.
We want to be the excuse to get you away from the crazy chaos,
Yeah.
or bring the crazy chaos to us and let me handle it for an hour.
Yeah. that could happen too. You could bring your crazy chaos to the class.
People do that.
It's happened.
Every tour. They're like, I'm bringing my family. So opc.me/tour. You don't want to miss this. Winter tour is amazing. And the cities we go to change every year. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I'll go next year. We might not be coming to your city next year. That's just how it is.
That's true. Okay. Now let's talk about Candy Mutzik. Candy is a business coach and a podcast host dedicated to helping struggling coaches thrive in pursuing their passion while attracting clients and generous income.
Okay, so I'm going to jump in because I really loved, there's a couple things. First of all, she talked about how like you would never go to a therapist who doesn't have a therapist. You would never go to a Pilates teacher who doesn't have a Pilates teacher. So
you would never go to a doctor who
Doesn't
doesn't
go to the
have a
doctor.
doctor. They obviously go to doctors.
And then, so she is a coach for coaches. So I love that. But I really like, she talked about like really getting into like, what is your purpose? And this is actually really hilarious because, in the agency meeting today, that when they were recording this, we're talking about purpose. And I said, your purpose isn't like this. I coach Pilates instructors, right? Your purpose isn't Pilates. I'm just going to like, if you listen to this and you teach Pilates or you teach yoga or whatever it is, your purpose is not actually the thing that you currently do for a living. Your purpose is bigger than that. My vehicle happens to be Pilates right now. But if I were to not teach Pilates, don't freak out. I'm not saying I'm going to quit tomorrow. But if I were to not do that, I would still have that purpose. And so she said, you need to contemplate the big question, what is my purpose? She says, your purpose wants us as much as we want it. And she said, be bold enough to see what's right in front of you. And a lot of times people think that their purpose is going to hit them. Like she said, like a lightning bolt from heaven is just going to hit you and go, here is your purpose. And it's not going to be like that, but it's in you. And oftentimes we don't want to say it out loud because we don't feel like we're enough for it. Or we don't think it's big enough. Like I remember when we did this with agency members a couple of years ago and someone's like, okay, but I just want to help people not be in pain. I'm like, that's a fucking huge purpose. Pain keeps people from living a whole life. And so sometimes I think we play the purpose down like, oh, that's not enough. I'm not saving the world. I'm not stopping climate change. It's like, hold on. If what you do takes the person out of pain and that person can cure cancer, that's pretty fucking awesome. So like your purpose is always bigger than what it is. And we need to stop playing small. And oftentimes it's right in front of you and it's in you and you're scared to say it or you're embarrassed to say it or you think, oh my God, people aren't going to think I'm good enough to say it. And you need to be brave enough and bold enough to see it. It's right in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
Well, when I was listening through, she started to talk about transition out of corporate and into coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, that attracted me because that's one of the things that we like to work with people on in our coaching program too.
Mm-hmm.
And she said she had a couple of like just obvious, straightforward tips. One of them was, could you live on half of your salary?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if you're making $10,000 a month, can you live on 5? If you're making $5,000 a month, can you live on 2.5? And we always say, make a runway. So,
build a runway.
Put 6 months of money aside
Mm-hmm.
if you're going to make this kind of a transition so that you know that you have 6 months to.
Isn't that what's so cool though? If you can live off half, then in 6 months, you've created a runway living off half.
Yeah.
So that's 1 year where you have to live on half the income, but it allows you to transition and do the thing that you've been wanting to do in 1 year. In 1 year. Like, that's crazy. That's so much faster than you trying to
your life
save.
could completely change.
Yeah.
And you would have 6 months of practice living on half and then 6 months living on that half. So the fear of like money, it still will light a fire under your ass when you finally do pull the chute. But you'll be like, I know I can do it.
Yeah, but the second 6 months, you are doing the thing you've been wanting to do. So like and you're only focused on that. Like, whoa, big time amazingness.
Yeah, but she said, despite the financial prep, she still said it was emotionally terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
She spent a long time in corporate. She said that one of the most challenging things was the attachment or association that we have with the title of our old role, right? Like, are you the general manager? Are you the something, whatever? Are you the AGM? Are you, basically what we have adopted in our culture, in our society, is that we associate who we are with the title that we've been given, right? And it's become our identity. And so when you take away that title, who am I? Who am I now? Am I, and it actually suddenly can become like a confidence shaker because you're like, well, I can't introduce myself anymore as the whatever, so how do I do that? Are people going to take me seriously? She said that she had tied her identity like she had tied herself to her title, her identity to her title, and that was her measure of success.
Oh, I mean, I resonate with this so much because when I was a manager in Fred Siegel, let me just say, if I went into any retail store anywhere in LA, Orange County, New York, and they're like, I'd be shopping and they're like, oh, can I help you? I'm like, oh, I'm just looking around, don't worry. I'm in sale. I'm in retail too. You can take another customer if you need to. They're like, oh, where do you work? And I'm like, oh, I run a jewelry store in Fred Siegel. People knew that. And they're like, you run a store in Fred Siegel? I'm like, oh, I do. So my store, you guys, was not even 50 square feet. I'm just going to tell you right now. It was a counter, but I did $1 million in a counter. But I didn't make $1 million. I'm going to say I sold $1 million in a counter. But when I was leaving that, there was something like, I'm leaving that to be a Pilates instructor.
Right.
And I remember my clients thinking, oh my God, my clients who I sell this stuff to, if I tell them I'm going to be a Pilates instructor, what are they going to think of me? Yep. Guess what? Can I just tell you right now? When I told them I was like leaving to be a Pilates instructor, they're like, oh, can I take a session from you? And I was like, yeah, you can. You totally can. Yes, you can. Oh my God. Yes, you can. So like, it's really funny the story we tell ourselves because it's a lot of people, may not even know what the fuck the title means. It's like not impressive to them at all. And B, your new thing might actually be so cool. And they're also often a lot of people are like jealous that you're making a leap like that because they're like you're following your dreams and they feel stuck to their title.
My personal experience with that is with my band. When I first moved to Los Angeles, I literally moved across the country to be in a band. And we were called the Magnificent Ambersons. And when that band...
The Magnificent
Ambersons. Come on, get it right.
Even harder.
Yeah, hello.
Oh my God, you guys like the Oneaters, the Wonders.
TMA, the Magnificent Ambersons. When that band stopped, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know how to function. I didn't know how to introduce myself. I didn't know why I was in LA anymore. I didn't know. I was like pissed. I was really upset. And it really rocked me because I had completely identified who I thought I was with this thing, this band.
Mm-hmm.
And when the band was done, suddenly did that mean Brad was done? Like, what do I do now? Do I go home? Like it was a really interesting time. And so I totally relate to what she said about having no title suddenly, like, what does that mean? So, but I think I'm sure that we also do that in the Pilates world. And who are you? Oh, I'm a Pilates teacher, but what if you didn't associate yourself with your job, didn't associate yourself with your title of your thing? Like, what would that look like? Could you do that? How do you introduce yourself today without talking about that? Hey, I'm Brad.
Yeah.
I live in Vegas, or I'm Brad and I grow cactus, or I'm Brad and I like to take long drives on the highway.
I think I might be like, I'm Lesley and I own 34 chairs.
Right. Because we literally do. She has a problem.
Do you guys want to see a picture of every chair? Because I will take that. But I do understand this because the actual reality is like when I'm on a plane traveling to Poland or to Korea and people are like, oh, what are you going for? And I'm like, oh, I'm going for work. What do you do? I'm like, it's not going to make any sense. I teach Pilates. And they're like, aren't there Pilates instructors in Poland? I'm like, yep, that's precisely the point. But like, it also doesn't even make sense. And so, I mean, it can be a great conversation starter for me, which helps people leads people to onlinepilatesclasses.com. But like, I am often curious about like, how can I introduce myself in a way that like doesn't lead people with the, let me just cook my head. I don't understand. So I'm going to say I'm a Ghostbuster at some point. Like I do think we need to figure out a way to introduce ourselves that does not have a title identified to it, because even for people who don't work like an actual job, because like stay-at-home moms, you are working the fucking hardest job. They also have the same problem going, oh, I'm a stay-at-home mom. No, you are a mom. you like, you know what I mean? And I think we have to, I don't know, the whole Western culture needs a whole new do-over on like what it is that we do.
Well, I think
maybe
that's
Candy can
actually
come back and help
that's
us
the
with that.
exact word, do, because it's like I can't remember.
Oh,
be, do, have.
we're doing this with
Do,
Brad
be,
Bijak. We need to have him on the pod.
Be,
Put it down.
Be, do, have.
Most people wait until they have so they can do the thing and be the thing.
And be the thing.
And he's like, no, you have to
you have
be
to flip
the
it on its
thing.
head.
Be, do, have. So
Right.
you be the thing. Be it, do, till ya, have, see
Have
it.
it, see it.
I was
Right.
like, he's doing my podcast for me.
But the just hitting lamps over here. But
It's after hours, guys. So sorry about this episode.
But the point is, we introduce ourselves as the do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do.
But we are the be.
But we are the be.
Mm-hmm. So actually, maybe just introduce yourself as the person you want to be in the room. In fact, I am recalling an episode of a podcast from 10 years ago where this guy was unemployed and he introduced himself to Ariana Huffington as the person he wanted to be, and he fucking landed a job.
Nice.
What? I mean, crazy. And I was like, okay, so part of that seems a little narcissistic and maybe crazy. But what if you like just introduce yourself as like the like, instead of I'm the person who is the accounting, if you want to be the person who's like a #1 Etsy seller, go, oh, I have an Etsy shop.
Right.
And like the be
But
it
it's still,
part.
that's a do.
That's what you want to be. So you're saying it before it's ready. But okay, I see what you're saying. Well, then if you are the sticker shop girl, then you are someone who creates happiness wherever you leave people. And people go, what is that? Oh, I make stickers, and people put stickers everywhere. Like, yeah, she's a happiness
I think we need to
curator.
workshop this. I see what your point is there, and I think that's valid because it's definitely like how is she serving people in that response. But yeah, we tend to default to something that we're proud of, which, is like, the art of bragging, but it also tends to be.
There's
like
a book on that. It's called The Art of Bragging.
I know and so it also tends to be, our title. So,
Well, yeah, I think, everyone send us your workshop on this. What is your B, and how are you going to introduce yourself without using your job title?
be do have.
What are you going to do? Brad, that's homework. We have to figure this out.
I'm gonna BDH. Be do have.
Well, what if we just say like, I help women prioritize themselves?
I dig that.
That's my introduction. From now on, right now, starting this moment.
I'm in. I agree. I
Okay.
like that.
All right, cool. Okay, well, let's talk about this.
That's what we be.
What's what we be? That's a shirt.
That's what we be.
Okay,
We got merch.
merch.
Okay, finally, let's talk about those be it action items. What bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted action items can we take away from your convo with Candy Mutzek? Well, she said every time she hears the word be it till you see it, she always thinks of the word be.
B. Hey, shout out to Bridget, who goes by B.
Yeah, because she said it's really the start of it. And she started to talk about embracing the mindset of being your goal even before you have the goal, right? Before you visibly see the goal. So
before you see the results, which is like the best
the be
thing.
do have,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if we're sticking with the theme, be it before you have it.
Mm-hmm.
Be it before you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Be it.
Love it.
Yeah, and I think that it's like you were talking about the guy who introduced himself before, who he wanted to be, and then landed that job, and that's what this entire podcast is all about.
Yeah.
Being it till you see it, y'all.
Yeah. So, because it's not about waiting until you have it to do and be it. So she continuated on B, with whatever the next step that they want to be it now. And she actually made it like a little bit more tangible than I think anyone's ever said, which is like when you're brushing your teeth. So if you want to be an executive, or if you want to be a badass boss bitch, like how would they brush their teeth? Would they slump over the counter, grab it, judge themselves in
someone
their
brushes
head?
their teeth for them.
You know what's actually really funny is we were in Cambodia and I wasn't making the bed, and Brad goes, "Rich people make the bed." And I was like, oh, he's fucking right. They do. They do. So if you're washing the dishes, how would someone, if you want to be someone who isn't stressed out, who has ease, who, has a big, bold, all the things, whatever that is, whatever that person is you want to be, when you're washing the dishes, how would they wash the dishes? Would they wash the dishes with amazing music on? Would they wash the dishes with like their favorite show on? Like, how would they wash the dishes and do that now? Because it's really crazy. Like, if you actually think about this, like who you want to be in the future, if you were that person now with all the things you still have to do, how would that person handle those things?
Yeah.
This is how Be It Till You See It came about, because I was like, okay, I don't know how to be a CEO. Okay, well, if I was a CEO, how would I handle this problem right now? Okay, if I was CEO right now, I probably wouldn't be handling this problem because someone else would be handling this problem. So who would be handling this problem? Okay, so it'd be that person. Who is that person in my company right now? Oh, I could hire Brad to do that thing. Okay, I'm going to hire Brad to do that thing. Like you can actually like step into the role. Like a CEO does not actually stress out about whether someone is on time or not. Someone else stresses about that person being on time. The CEO manages the person who does that. So if I'm the CEO, I can't think about not like minor problems. I have to focus on the big problems. I have to focus on the big fires. And that really helped me go, oh, these are the fires I have to worry about burning, not those ones over there. So that is like what she is asking you to do. Whoever you want to be next, being that now when you wash the dishes, when you brush your teeth, when you do your day-to-day stuff, how would you drive the car? If you were this person that you want to be like? And you're driving your car, are you going, fuck you, da-da-da, honk, honk, honk? Or are you like, oh, I am driving, I'm like sitting in the backseat of the car, this car, like you might have to still drive the car, but like if you wouldn't actually be paying attention to any of that nonsense because you would be in the backseat, you're in the front seat now, but you could like, what would it like to be in the backseat and not care about the person cutting you off? Try it out. Let us know how it goes in your life. Tag Candy, tag the Be It Pod. I'm Lesley Logan.
And I'm Brad Crowell.
We fucking love you.
Yeah.
And since it is Thanksgiving, we are very grateful for you. I know we say it all the time, but you need to know, like, this podcast doesn't exist if you don't listen.
It's true.
So thank you for listening to the show. Thank you for sharing it to your friends. Thank you for sending your suggestions, sending your questions.
Yeah.
And
if you have never written to us,
write to us.
Just say hi. You don't have to actually ask a question. You can just say, hey,
do you know?
Heard your pod. Love you.
You can post it in the review if you want.
You could.
And also, we send out an email every Thursday about the pod, and you can just hit reply on that. It comes to me.
You can also do that.
Comes to me. And if you're like, I don't get that email, well, hit me up and I'll tell you to get that email.
Go to the website.
Yeah.
LesleyLogan.co.
Yeah, you can get that. Anyways, we are really grateful for you.
Yeah.
And because we do this for you, and when you are stressed, when you're frustrated, when you're crying, when you're like, oh, I wish I could just fucking have it already. All those problems are how I find guests, and you're not alone in those problems. That's why we do this podcast. It's really important that you understand that every single person has obstacles. Every single person who listens to this podcast has an obstacle that they've overcome, and probably one they're dealing with in the moment that I'm interviewing them. And they show up for you. You show up for you, and that's why this podcast exists. So thank you so much, and until next time, be it till you see it.
Bye for now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review, and follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day.
Be It Till You See It is a production of the Bloom Podcast Network.
It's written, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell.
It is produced and edited by the epic team at Diseño.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to Melissa Solomon for creating our visuals and Samena Velazquez for our transcriptions.
Also to Angelina Herrico for adding all the content to our website, and finally to Meredith Crowell for keeping us all on point and on time.
Just filling the time in the jungle, the mighty jungle. The lion sleeps tonight. Woo woo.
In the jungle.
Well, no, just go ahead, sing better than me.
The
Fine.
mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. I'm on my way.
She said, you need to contemplate the big question, what is my purpose? And here is the thing. I caught my microphone, guys. I'm just going to hold it up on my kickstand.